The Ball Guy Show starts right now. Hope you enjoy the show. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Happy birthday, America. 250th birthday. Happy 4th of July, everybody. I hope everybody is having a good time, celebrating freedom, celebrating our country, our wonderful, amazing country. I am an American citizen. I love my country. My parents are Cubans. Hopefully we'll see a free Cuba very soon. But man, what a perfect time to be an American. I love America. I love my country, and I hope you do too. And I hope you celebrate it safely today. My guest today is a very, very talented singer-songwriter and producer. Before we bring him on, before we bring Mike Hodges on, we're going to check out one of his songs. But before we do that, make sure you download wepa.fm, your bilingual, your ultimate bilingual internet radio station, wepa.fm, aka Wepa FM. Also, make sure you check out Destiny Records. Destiny Records, they have so many great artists signed to Destiny Records. And man, let me tell you, Phantom Force, they're coming out with a new song. All right. Kylie Kuba, she's coming out with a new song. All right. Sammy, she's been number one for 4 weeks in a row, and she is working on a new song, which is about to be released as well. Hilda, along with DJ George Ojeda as well. Man, and they just signed a new artist as well. That's what I'm hearing. And so stay tuned to Destiny Records and check them out. All right. That information for Destiny Records, their link is going to be in the description of this episode, along with wepa.fm. So you can just click on the link and just make sure you download it, or just go online. All right. Let's go straight to this song.
Sunday morning, in the still, I watch you as you sleep. Sometimes it hits without a warning. What a lucky man I am that you chose me. And though I know I could never give you all you deserve, I'm gonna give you all I am. Won't never go away, girl. I need you to stay. You shine on me. When the times get harder, girl, you pierce the dark. You shine on me. Oh, I have seen my share of miracles, but nothing beats what we have in that other room. And now the two of you are my whole world, and I would die for either one. Won't never go away, girl. I need you to stay. You shine on me. When the times get harder, girl, you pierce the dark. You shine on me. When we have run from here to the Pacific Coast Highway, we have run from here to the cliffs of Acadia. We got an escape in the wildwood, In the hills of Carolina, I go to the ends of the earth just to see your star. Don't ever go. Don't ever go. Baby, don't go. Please don't go. Don't ever go away, girl. I need you to stay. You shine on me. When the times get harder, girl, you pierce the dark. You shine on me.
All right, let's bring him on. Mike, thank you for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me. Good to be
Oh,
with you.
man, what a great song, man. I
Thank
really
you.
enjoy that song. I love the beats. I love it's just a great song. I love the melody. I love the voice. It's really cool, man. I like that song. I like Promises as well.
Thank you.
You know, I like, man, all your songs are really good. You know, Denver is good as well. I really like Denver as well. Also Higher Powers. It's really good, man. Great
Thank you
job.
very much.
Great job so far,
Glad
man.
you like it. Thanks.
Let's start with this. For people discovering you for the first time, who's Mike Hodges beyond the music?
Mike Hodges is a husband, dad. I'm a registered nurse. Just a busy guy, really, in everyday life. Lots of things to fill my life up. I love to travel with my people and go see new places, experience new things, stuff like that, and you know, just enjoy living life with them.
Where are you living? Where do you live?
I live in Jacksonville, Florida. Well, a little north of Jacksonville in Yulee.
Really? I'm
Mhm.
I'm originally from South Florida. I live in
Okay.
Texas now, but I'm originally from South Florida, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Been there a few times. Yep.
What kind of kid were you growing up?
Well, I'm a big brother, so just had a lot of fun. My brother's about 5 years younger than me, and we lived in a broken home, and lived with my mom, and so we kind of bonded a lot through those years, me and him, and just enjoyed boy things, sports, playing football, and basketball and all that good stuff, wrestling each other, fighting, of course, all the good stuff, video games, just living that life as a kid.
A Jacksonville Jaguars fan, a Dolphin fan, or a Buccaneer fan?
Oh,
all
Jaguars.
three. Jaguars.
100%. Yep.
Boo.
Yep.
I won't hold it. I won't hold it against you. I won't hold it against you. Don't worry
We're
about
coming.
it.
We're coming. Finally.
I hopefully the Dolphins will have a good year as well. I mean, we're so due, man. Oh man, we haven't won a playoff game since Marino retired, and it's embarrassing. When did music stop being a hobby and just start becoming part of your identity, or is it part of your identity now?
It's 100% a part of my identity now. I've been since I was a child, in some form or another, and I've always had a good ear. When I took piano lessons as a kid, and then kind of got away from it. I got tired of it, really didn't like it, and then came back to sit at the piano as like a senior in high school, and just sat down and started just playing what I wanted to play for the first time. And since then, like on and off, I've gone through periods of writing music, and then periods of just not even looking at a piano. And so it was sort of part of me back then, but You know, I recently lost my mom in 2024 after a battle with dementia. And, you know, through that period, I'd been pretty depressed and stuff like that. And really did not have the drive to do music at all, or anything like that. And it was this odd thing that, you know, once she passed and I knew she was in a better place, it was like this weight was lifted off of me. And I started writing and have not stopped since then. So, you know, I started my first October of last year. It was Ghosts. And I've been releasing stuff like pretty consistently ever since then. So now it is definitely a part of my identity. And I enjoy like talking to people about my music, people at work, people that, you know, that never even knew I was a musician before. So, so it's been kind of a cool new chapter opened up in my life.
Well, first of all, sorry for your loss, man.
Thank you.
I know the loss of a loved one is tough, especially when it's a parent or a grandparent, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, I lost my grandfather 20 plus years ago, and I still miss it to this day. So
definitely. Definitely.
What artist first made you feel something deep emotionally?
I would say it was Chicago, actually. Yeah, I seen you posting.
That's my all-time favorite band, man.
All right, well, we're cool then, because that's mine too. Absolutely.
Dude, you're kidding me, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, my favorite singer is Peter Cetera.
Come on.
Dude.
Me too. Me too.
So pissed off that he did not show up.
Yeah.
Listen, my opinion, greatest voice of all time.
Absolutely. I agree.
But I can't help but be disappointed in the childness, childlike behaviors at 70 plus years old. At that point, it was in the late 60s. He's 80 years old now, and they can't get their crap together.
Right. Yeah.
But, but man, it would have been nice if I seen them reunite and perform together at the Hall of Fame.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's a shame. They're definitely not the same since he left. They still have done some good things, in my opinion. Since then, for sure, there's tons of talent, but to me, it was kind of personally the pinnacle, when he was with them, and, he split off from them, and I continued to love Chicago and followed Peter Cetera and, know all his songs backwards and forwards. And, both of those artists are very much influences on me, for sure. And they are always my go-to, if I need, to hear some music that I really want to hear or whatever, that's where I go.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. You can't help but love their music, even with the later still.
Yeah, they do.
But what about their music? What about them has inspired you?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, their lyrics have always touched, base with me. I think over the years, just I feel like each song I can like really identify with or understand, the emotion that's coming from that. Mm-hmm. I think maybe even more so though for me, the way that they wrote their music is inspirational to me. I feel like every single note that they write has a place in the world. Like every single note has a reason to exist. And there's such like purpose to their writing, and the different, they have so many layers in their music, instrumentally and vocally, that like I can listen to like one song 100 times and hear something different every time. And it's kind of like ear candy for someone with a really good ear, because it's just like, you pick up on, this riff you didn't hear before that's really buried in the background or something. You're like, man, that just makes this song that much better. And that has really, I think, subconsciously informed the way that I write. And, there's many layers to my music that I write. I feel so bad for my sound engineer that I send my stems to. It's such a job. But there's just so many different parts. And to me, like, each one of them matters. So I feel like I do get that from them.
Yeah. They like I said, even the original music from back there when they were CTA, in 69, 68, their music from 1970 sound fresh today.
For sure.
So yeah, especially my favorite song is obviously 25 or 624.
Yes.
And with the late great Terry Kath and that solo, that long solo.
Yes.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Epic. Yep.
Yes. Have you had the opportunity of seeing them live?
I have, actually. I didn't for the longest time. And then here, I'd say within the past 10 years or so, I've seen them twice.
Wow.
Went once with a friend, saw them with Earth, Wind and Fire, which was absolutely amazing. I mean, they did this, thing at the end where like they combined and their brass sections combined. It was just super cool. And then I went a few years after that with my wife, took me for my birthday. They were in Jacksonville here at the amphitheater, and saw them. They played with REO Speedwagon that night, and it was just a phenomenal show. And the kicker was, for my birthday present after the show, my wife surprised me with getting to meet them, go backstage, meet them, got a picture behind me, sitting up there with me, there with the guys. So just an amazing gift, and just kind of like the realization of a lifetime dream. So super cool.
Man, that to me, the dream collaboration is REO, and because that's my second favorite band.
Yeah.
REO Speedwagon, and Chicago, and I saw the recording when they were in the Red Rocks, when they recorded them together, and wow, man, congratulations on getting to see them for your birthday. My family got me tickets in 2021. I got to see Neil Donnell lead sing with Chicago. I got to finally see them in 2021. So I had the opportunity of seeing them. We drove up to North Carolina from Florida and saw them there during the pandemic.
Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Music blends retro textures, modern production, along with synth-driven indie pop. What pulled you into that sound, and how did you develop that balance?
Well, it's really partially it has to do with this instrument that I have, that I got a few years ago that really is just amazing to me as far as a tool to use, that gives me so much like at my fingertips to be able to really play around with and experiment with, as far as the synth part of it goes. And typically, like what I'll do is like I'll write a song, beginning with piano, and then I'll build around that, with the different parts from the synth and stuff, and then work my way to like bass and drums and all that stuff. And so like, initially I was creating a lot of stuff, and I was like, I liked how it sounded. But then I was like, this is I would, of course, lean very heavily into the 80s textures and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, it sounds cool to me, but I do want to kind of modernize just a little bit. And so, I've been, and that's a work in progress too. Just trying to continue to like modernize my sound a little bit while staying true to some of those 80s elements and stuff like that. So just like, different drum sounds and stuff like that. Things like that, just different effects that may be a little more modern, to kind of get that blend going, is kind of what I'm going for. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
What emotions are you chasing when you create music?
Wow. You name it. Really, um, I find that hope is one that keeps coming back, as far as like the overriding theme of a lot of this music. And devotion and loyalty definitely in there. Um, Bringing, finding light in darkness. Basically, you know, we're all human. We all deal with, really difficult things, that life throws at us and stuff. And, when you're in the midst of it, I can speak from experience that it seems like the end sometimes. It just seems like you never get out of it. And, you know, um, I'm lucky enough to have, people around me that are rocks and that just really kind of shine for me in those dark periods. And like, you know, I also know that like I have music that I can lean on as well. Like I can put my headphones on and listen to music and it just lifts me. It hits me right in the soul. And so if I could personally thank, you know, musicians and artists and stuff that are there for me, when they don't even know it. It's
Yeah.
like to be able to possibly do that for other people would be like just the biggest honor, to me. So that's really it, is just kind of trying to say, okay, here are things that I've felt in my life and maybe you're feeling in your life, and maybe we can connect on that.
Um, what makes a song feel alive to you?
Oh, I think um I think like a to me, I think the first thing is the rhythm. I'm a percussionist in nature. I played drums in high school. And I'm drawn to good beats, really. And um the way that can drive a song, the way that the drums lock in with the bass and things like that. And then a good memorable hook or two, in music really kind of brings it to life as far as I'm concerned. And those are the things that I really do, you know, those are goals for me in my writing, to make sure that, that I'm doing that, because, it's before I release a song, I have to be entertained by it. So, um, so basically those are some of the big things. And then the other thing for me is I've always loved vocal harmonies and just playing around with the different things that you can do vocally, whether it's like harmonies or counter melodies, things like that. And like, for instance, Peter Cetera is a master of, introducing a melody line and then introducing a counter melody and then making them blend together, like introducing them together at the end or something. And they just like work together perfectly. And, and again, it's a work in progress, but it's so much fun to try to tap into that.
Do you think music today has lost emotional depth?
I think some of it has. I I listen to kind of a wide variety of stuff, and so maybe it depends a little on the genre. I some of the pop music that I listen to seems pretty flat to me, um, but then others really resonate with me. Um, a genre that I've recently like realized that I've always kind of been in love with, and I think it is because it always seems to kind of resonate, is R&B. And I noticed that there are some elements of that in my writing as well, because I listen to a good bit of it. But I do feel like there's such genuine emotion in a lot of that music. And um So yeah, I think it can be hard sometimes, I guess, if you're, producing a lot of music and you're like just trying to churn them out, maybe to really hit that emotional chord, and everything, I suppose. But I think there are still, like Coldplay, for instance, I feel like they don't struggle with that whatsoever,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And, and there are others, but yeah, I think there's a spectrum out there of it.
Let me ask you this. What separates a good song from a timeless one?
Ooh. I would say something that makes a song timeless is something that to me, a good song is something like it comes on the radio or whatever on your playlist, and you're like, grooving. It's like, you're glad that it's on, you sing along to it. It's a good song and stuff like that. Timeless to me is the song that you hear when it's not on. That's the song that you sing in your head, when you're in the shower or you're getting ready for your day or whatever. It's the song you can't get out of your head. To me, that's when it makes a song timeless. And, those either, whether it's the musical hook, that just sticks with people, or whether it's, the lyrics really hit home with somebody or whatever. Those songs are the ones. I know I have hundreds of them probably that I could probably just sing right off the top of my head. So, but yeah, I think that's probably what separates them.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your songwriting. What's the most personal song you've ever written?
The most personal song would definitely be Starlight. At this point, they're all so personal to me for different reasons, but Starlight's funny because so my wife and I just had our 10th anniversary in March, and so I was like, I really want to write her a song, to commemorate that. And I've been thinking about it for months, since I'd really started releasing tracks. I was like, that'd be so cool to do. And so then I would start trying to come up with something or whatever. And it's like, just could not come up with words. And I believe it's because there's just so much. I'm such an emotional person. There's just so much. And it was just I could not figure out how to say what I wanted to say, in an adequate way. And how do you distill that down into a song, over a couple minutes? And so, what happened was I was working on another song, that actually has gone by the wayside at this point. And, as a part of that song, I kind of come up with this piano riff, just kind of came up. And I was like, man, that's really cool. That's something different, that's kind of catchy. And and I couldn't stop playing it, and I kept playing it. I was like, no, this has to be its own song. This has to be its own song, because now I'm feeling really inspired. And so, I scrapped the other one, started with that, and literally had Starlight written in 2 hours, as far as the bare bones of it, the lyrics and everything. It just flowed. And definitely the fastest song that I've ever written. And it just really, it was like something else was guiding my hand. It was that flow state that people talk about. That's the first time I ever really experienced it, but it was just I looked down, it was it was written, and the lyrics did exactly what I needed them to do. And, when I, the first time that I sang it just for myself, just trying to, see how it sounded, I couldn't sing it because I started crying. So I was like, man, this is going to work. I think she's going to like it. So, and she did.
Good.
Yeah, it definitely landed. It definitely landed. So
you got some brownie points for that one, huh?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It'd be tough to live up to that, but yeah.
Where do your lyrics usually come from?
Oh, well, I I write my music in a way where I start with the music itself. So I'll write the basically whatever the basic idea is musically, it's going to be on piano. And then, once I do that, I'll usually build out from there, but then I let the music kind of inspire me, if that makes sense. And so like it kind of gets me started, I guess. And I let that kind of lead me into, what emotion is that bringing me towards? And there's so much for me to pull from, in my lifetime. Like, just here I was struggling with this and it's still so real to me. And here I was, going through that. And oops, I wasn't writing music back then, but guess what? I'm going to write a song about it now, and so it's kind of like this almost like unfinished business, I guess. Like I just, had all this stuff that I needed to really tap into and access and express and get out there. And like I said, my hope is that, these are common type things that people experience and go through and can kind of connect with. But yeah, it's really kind of led by the music itself, and then saying, you know what, this reminds me of this, and letting that inspire me, and it works really well for me.
What emotion is hardest for you to put into words?
Um, I think probably the hardest is, I would say probably anger, um, which is kind of where promises kind of gets kind of around the edges of that.
Mm.
And the idea of kind of betrayal and that kind of thing. And, just kind of being, giving someone chance after chance and this and that and stuff like that. And then finally just being done with it. And so the song is about telling that person that and expressing that emotion to them, and being like, you've had all these chances. I've tried to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm done with it. And it's funny because that one was difficult to get out and figure out how to really approach that and everything. But I stuck with it, and it worked. But yeah, that's probably, I would say, so far been the biggest challenge.
Walk me through your creative process from idea to finish to releasing, recording.
Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, I'll sit down, and play around on the piano, or sometimes it's some different voice on the synth, whatever, just really experimenting. But usually it does come back to the piano for me. And I'll play around until I find some sort of chord progression that sounds different, something that sounds interesting to me, and I will kind of work off of that to start with. Usually I'll build 2 or 3 sections of the song right off the bat, as far as like the idea of it, and then kind of string those together in the sequencer, and then on the keyboard, and then I'll start building around that with drums, with bass, with pads and other elements and stuff like that. And really, basically, I usually get that song instrumentally finished, and then, like I said, I'll start to like think about like what I want to write about, to go along with that song. And so then I'll write the lyrics, record the vocals, record the harmonies, and then give it a few listens, go back, adjust things, edit things, add stuff, subtract stuff. And then once it is sounds good to me, I'll send that off to an engineer who will take that, mix it, master it for me, and send it back. The other thing that I do sometimes do, which I'm doing in my two newer ones that are not released yet, is session guitarist. So that's the one I wish so much that I could play guitar. Like the guitar adds so much to music. I have so much respect for that instrument, and I've tried to learn to play it multiple times, and these fingers only do piano. Apparently, it does not work for me. But but I'm not ashamed to hire out for it. And what I'll usually do is come up with the ideas and send them like a reference. And these guys do a good job getting it back to me, and it sounds really good. So the new stuff that'll be coming will have some guitar in it, which I'm looking forward to sharing. So,
how much of your sound is intentional versus accidental discovery?
There's definitely accidental discovery in there. I would say the majority of it is intentional, and at the end it's all intentional. But you know, whether it's vocal, you know, whether it's the melody line, you know, in Promises, in the chorus, at the end of the chorus, there's a part there where I go up high, sing up really high. And I had never done that. You don't hear that in Denver. You don't hear that in Ghosts. It was the first time I had done it. And I was like, when I did it, I was like, oh man, that could work, you know? And I was like really just kind of messing around with it, but I was like, okay. And now like doing that has kind of become a staple for me in my music. I really like kind of flipping into that higher register, but yeah, I don't know. I just, I think that it's something where like I found something that I like, whether it was by accident or not, and stick with that if it seems to work for me. But the majority of my stuff is really, you know, meticulously planned out, like my piano riffs and stuff and the drums and stuff I build around it. I do spend a lot of time trying to get that exactly the way I like it.
What's the longest you've spent perfecting a song?
I would say probably at this point, I would say probably a couple of months, maybe 2 months or so, give or take. I'm not real sure, but that's about the general time frame. And you know, right now, like my process is so I've gotten to where like I'm kind of in the groove with the way that I do it now. And I can pretty much almost plan out on a timeline when these next songs are going to come out because of the way that process works. And I think, you know, typically it's really 2 months. I think Starlight was a little less because that came together so fast, but yeah, it's usually a couple months.
Have you scrapped any songs, or do you have any songs that right now are on the shelf that you're gonna dabble with later on? Or
yeah, there's a lot. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but I mean there's a decent number of songs that I've put aside. I don't know if I'll come back to them. I keep thinking, you know, yeah, you know, one day like I'm gonna go through a dry period. I'm gonna go back and like check these out and maybe get re-inspired and stuff like that. And you know, that time has just never come. Like I, you know, finish, you know, one song, get one song into a certain spot, and then I'm like, all right, let me just sit down and write, because that's like, you know, that's what I do. That's the most relaxing thing that I do, is when I just first start out and I can just sit down, like, you know, no time constraints, no rules, nothing, just play and everything. And so, and next thing I know, here I am like knee deep in another song. So, but I do keep those other songs on the shelf, so to speak, like you say, and also other ideas and stuff like that, that I'm like, I just, you know, keep them for a rainy day, go back to them if I need to. So
how do you feel when, man, okay, this song is finished? that's complete. It's ready to go and record.
Oh, how do I know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was something that I did have to learn and work on because, early on I wanted to, be such a perfectionist about it and get everything just right. Or maybe if I add this or add this, I'm like, bro, you're going to have like 200 tracks on this thing. It's not going to, it's not going to be good. So I basically have learned to try to understand exactly what you're saying, which is how do you know when it's done? Again, kind of a work in progress for me, but I'm like, how much would adding something here really affect, the song? Does the song come across the way it's written? So what I'll do is I'll, send it to myself. I'll listen to it in my car. I'll listen to it on my headphones, whatever. And if I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to put out into the world, that's really it. It's as simple as that for me. And it's like hands off the keyboard. It's enough. So
let's talk about a little emotional here. Tell me about Higher Power. Where did that come from? Because I listened to it and I see you talk a little bit about faith and about God. How did that one come about?
Yeah, that one, it's that one's kind of drawing on, my time with my mom and all of that. There's some of that. There's some elements also of 2020, which I think for everybody was rough, the year 2020, but things like I lost my grandma there too. And so it was, again, it's this idea of kind of the weight of the world on your shoulders and like trying to slog through that. And you deal with some massive things and stuff and people walk around the world with stuff on them that, is so heavy, and you have to get up every day and you have to go to work and you have to go to school. You have to do whatever it is that you have to do and carry on. And it's like, sometimes there's, as great as like my family is, as great as music is, sometimes it's not always enough. And, so I think that, I have a history, in the church personally. My mom was a church choir director all her life that I knew her. And so of course she had me and my brother in choir and
good.
My brother to this day is a professional choir singer. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I do have that background and, I have a kind of, I guess, a quiet spiritual side to me. It's just kind of my nature. And, so I know that when I need to, that, that there is that higher power to lean on, that God is there. And, I can look back through my life and see where he's been there,
Amen.
And just, to have that just basic foundational understanding, that he's there. It's a source of peace for me and confidence, and just, kind of calm in the storm. So, that song is really about that. And it's really about like, when things seem to be unmanageable or you're not going to be able to get through it or whatever, that you just have to hand it to him and be willing to do that and just give it up, because some things are just too big for us, too big for our families, and so that's really where that came from. That song means a lot to me.
I love it, man. Yeah, I was listening to the song today, and I was really listening to the lyrics. I was looking at the lyrics, and man, pretty cool song. And I see you talk about faith, and I love that you do have a relationship. I'm assuming you have a prayer life, and you do talk to the Lord. And I was listening today. I was also listening to a song which I haven't heard it in a while. on my way to work, which is called "Praise You in the Storm."
Yeah.
You know, and it's like he said, during tough times, what are you gonna do? Well, you got pray. You know, just hand it over to him.
Exactly.
Instead of just keeping it together, fighting it yourself, just hand it over to him.
Yeah.
And that's very important. And during this tough time, during the loss of your mom, what helped you get through this depression, or what? How did you get through the depression? Was it prayer? Was it talking to church people from church? What'd you do?
It was, I mean, it was a combination of things, honestly. It was such a process, kind of a long process. And yeah, I think, church definitely played a role in that. I had kind of actually drifted away from church before I met my wife, and she yanked me back in. And so good for her. But
Atta girl.
yep, and really she kind of served as a kind of a role model for me in that. And but really, what are you going to do in that situation? But get down on your knees. What are you going to do but lean on the people that love you the most? And it takes all of it. It really does to come through. To me, it does. So,
was there ever a moment and I think you did dabble on this earlier. Was there ever a moment you almost gave up on music totally altogether? I know you told me it was on pause.
Yeah.
But was there ever a moment that you gave up on it completely, or that you almost gave up on it completely?
I don't think there was ever a moment like where I said I'm done with it, or was like, I just don't think I ever want to do it again, like consciously. I think it was really more a matter of drifting away from it and being, I guess, distracted by other things and stuff like that. I think that, like, what I find when I look back is that, and what makes it so remarkable to me about how I've been writing since mom passed away, is that it was in the times in my life where things were rough, where I moved away from music. And I think a lot of artists tend, at least in my head, I think that a lot of artists seem to tend to go the opposite way and want to write, when things are rough and things are hard and stuff. And I would go the other way. At the time, I just didn't want it. Last thing I wanted to do was sit down and do music. And so during those periods, I would kind of get away from it. And then it would become a situation where, like, you haven't done it in a while, you just don't do it anymore, and keyboard would be collecting dust and stuff. But I always kept a keyboard in my house, always kept it. So somewhere in the back of my mind, it was like, you cannot give this up. And, I had not written for quite some time. And when my mom passed, we were having a dinner with my family, my closest family, afterwards. And the whole family was like, man, you've got to start writing. You've got to do music. It would make her so proud. And, like, you've just got to get back to it. My wife, my brother, my dad, my cousin, like, they were just like, this is art. They saw that as my identity. Going back to your question earlier, even more than I did, they saw that from the outside. Like, this is who you are. And sure enough, I mean, from that point on, it's just been rolling. So
it's funny, you just answered a question that I skipped over. I didn't even ask it. And it's that, have you ever felt lonely when, even while people were cheering for you? Yeah. And you answered it. That's amazing.
Yeah. They're awesome. And it's really cool the way that, that the people that truly do love you see the best in you, and they see your DNA, and they see like, you know, what drives you, what feeds you. They could tell you a lot of times better than you could tell anybody else. And, you know, so it was very powerful for me to hear that from them. It was almost like an intervention, but I know they didn't plan it, you know, so, but it worked nonetheless. So
what would mom say now, if hearing your music and knowing? I mean, I was just looking at your Spotify earlier. You have over 300 listeners monthly. I know people that have great music and they only have a couple listeners a month. You have over 300 listeners a month.
it's humbling.
And with only a handful of songs.
Right.
What would mom be saying right now? Do you think?
She would be so proud. She would be right there with my wife, as my number one fan. She would just, you know, she always wanted to know everything that I was doing, you know, with my writing. You know, she thought that I could do no wrong with that, and always believed in me. You know, my dad's the same way, but you know, in everything. My mom, one of the memories that I have of her, kind of towards the end, was her listening to a song that I was doing at the time, and you know, she didn't have her mind about her, but she was like, "That's really pretty. I really like that," you know. And it just, I think that if she were here, she would be so proud. I think she would be blown away, but I think she would be like, "I told you so. This is why I told you to do piano lessons. This is why I made you sing all those years. I told you so." And I have to say, you're right, Mom. So
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Have you ever felt pressure to become someone you're not for success or for your music?
I think that's, I've never really felt that before. I think that like I've felt a little bit of that here, you know, since I've started this new chapter, and not from anybody. It's really from me. And like, what, you know, what is it that would make my music something somebody would want to listen to? And you know, I listen to pop music, and I listen to, like I said, R&B, and I listen to, you know, older stuff, and you know, try to figure out. I've tried, let me put it that way. I used to try to figure out, like, where do I belong, you know, in that ecosystem? Where do I fit? And where I've landed is that it really doesn't matter to me. I think that, especially these days, I think that, you know, there's so many great artists people have never heard of before, and that make really good music, you know, like you're talking about with Spotify. And so why am I going to try to be something that I'm not, you know, with my music, just to fit into a category or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like I was saying earlier. I mean, my first consumer of my music is myself, and I want to write my music for me. I want to write and get my emotions out there. If I think a certain thing sounds cool, you know, a synth part or whatever, a certain drum lick or whatever it is, then I put it in there, and hopefully you like it. But if you don't, that's okay, you know. But it really takes pressure off of me, which is what I think needs to happen, you know, and just allows me to be an artist, a musician, and just go at it and do what I love to do. So
is social media helping music or hurting creatively?
I will admit that I am relatively new, relatively back into social media. I had really just done away with it for the most part for years, you know, for a multitude of reasons. But so I come back to it, because like I understand that in today's day, that it can be helpful. I know that social media in general can be harmful as well. And I think that music is not necessarily an exception to that. But I think that for someone like me, at least to this point, I feel like it has been helpful to get. It's just another way to kind of get my stuff out there for free, and where people, can listen to it that, may not just happen to come across it, in Spotify or whatever the case may be. It's also, I feel like, a way to put even more context behind the music itself. And, why do I write this? How do I write this? And that kind of thing that honestly we never got to have as kids, much. I mean, not to the level of access that you can have now with people.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool. Admittedly, I'm a little slow on the curve there, but I'm starting to pick it up with my Instagram. I'm learning, and definitely going to be doing more and more stuff like that. So in general, I think it's definitely helpful in a lot of ways. I know for me personally, I think it has definitely been helpful. So,
what's the biggest misconception about independent artists, do you think?
I'll be honest with you. I don't really know. I don't really know on that. From my personal experience, I can speak to that. Years ago, I didn't honestly, and this is really sad for me to say, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not really pay much attention to indie artists. I was very much like, whatever, the big stars and stuff, and the big names and stuff on the radio and stuff, and just pick and choose from that. And so I don't know if it's like, a perception that like if someone is not signed to a label, if someone is not, doesn't have, a million streams and, 100,000 followers and this and that, they don't have talent, that they don't have, ability or, what it takes. I think that it's more of like, your connections and things like that. And I think that indie artists, I've really become, I guess, kind of a fan of the whole thing, because you work so hard. You work so hard to get your stuff put together, get it out there, promote it, whatever the case may be, and everything. And it's just, you do. I mean, to me, the good side of it is you get to have your hand in everything, but that's also the bad side too. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's just super rewarding. And I do know, like, there are so many phenomenal indie artists out there that you just and we're kind of blessed again in this day and age where there is more exposure to those folks, and like being able to access them where it was so much harder in the past for them to be in front of people, to be heard and everything. So yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but I think that there is so much talent in indie artists out there that it's worth listening, worth trying them out, when you can. So
I 100% agree with you. And it's funny you say that, because I was the same way. Growing up, I have no idea what this is. I like Chicago. I grew up on Chicago. I listen to Chicago all the time. I knew Chicago, REO Speedwagon, or Kiss, or whoever you want to say, Beastie Boys.
Right.
I liked it all. Def Leppard, the well-known bands, the well-known singers, Elvis Presley. But thanks to going back to social media,
right?
Thanks to social media, I came across you
Right.
because I wasn't searching, but you popped up as a promo or something.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check, and I started checking out more. As you're one of the ones that started checking out indie, and um, and I liked it. I said, let me reach out to him, see if he wants to be on the show. And I just interviewed Jameson Zayas. He's a singer. He's a Christian singer, Christian country pop singer.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's Puerto Rican. He's Latino. So he's Latino. He sings. It's English, but he sings like a country pop Christian music. But he's independent.
Right.
Also, I came across his music the same way I came across yours. I wasn't following you, but you popped up in my feed. I go, hey, Mike Hodges, who's this? Let's check it out. Let's go to Spotify. Let's listen to a couple of songs. And I'll be honest, I fell in love with your music, man.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
So, folks, yes, give indie people a shot. Don't just stick around to not knocking the big names, because
right.
I do like listening to Elvis. I like listening to Def Leppard. I like listening to Chicago still, but give these folks a shot as well. You'll be surprised. Yeah, I totally agree, man. What's your favorite? Well, first of all, have you performed live yet? Have you done any live performances yet? And are you planning to?
So I have not in this kind of iteration that I'm going through now. I have performed live before as a member of other groups and stuff. I've never done it solo. I've never fronted anything. So I have not done that. I've kind of done some preliminary, like looking around and stuff and trying to see like where would be, some good spots for me and stuff like that. But as of yet, I have not, but I definitely am looking to do that for sure.
So you've been part of other bands, you've been part of bands and stuff. Is this your first time being solo?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in a band back in the early 2000s, kind of a full 5-piece band, and did some things in the community. And then here, let's see, I want to say 2014, 2013, somewhere in that range, me and one of the guys from that band, and then another dude, as a 3-piece, we went out and did like a wine bar thing out at the beach here that we did like every weekend. We were there every Friday night. We were kind of the house band there, and stuff like that. It was super, super fun. So much fun. But that was it. That was the last time for me. But I have really enjoyed that. I like being out playing in front of people. I've performed in front of people with other, singing things, like with stuff that my mom would be doing and stuff like that. But so I'm comfortable doing it. But it would be super cool to be able to do something that's completely my own, and stuff like that. So it's a little terrifying, but a little exciting too. So definitely looking forward to that chapter as well.
When do you have any plans of when, or maybe when you have a few more songs out, or maybe sooner than that?
Probably. So, I've looked at some venues around here and like some opportunities and stuff like that. And basically trying to see, I think that I probably need to have some more music before a lot of these places, in order to fill up the time. I mean, I certainly can work up, covers, with not much problem, but I think I would want to have more of my original stuff as well to be able to, to justify the time doing it. So, I don't know what that magic number is, but yeah, I do want to, I'm going to start going to some of these places, kind of feeling them out, seeing how some of these artists operate there and stuff. And hopefully I'll be one of them soon.
What keeps you grounded?
Or
who keeps you grounded?
My wife, for sure. My wife and my son. Just kind of, I guess it's interesting because like she's 100% my biggest fan. She loves everything that I do. But she doesn't get over the top with it either. And it's like in the creative process, like I'll have her come listen to this, listen to that, and she's like, oh yeah, that's cool, I like that, and everything. But it's kind of not like an over the top type response. But man, I release a song and she'll come home and she'll sing the whole thing to me. She'll come home and sing the whole thing to me. So she does give a good, kind of a good balance of that. And she keeps me grounded in everything. Honestly, she definitely, definitely helps me with that for sure.
Is there anything that scares you about the future?
Anything that scares me? Not really. Not really. I'm generally excited for the future.
Good.
I think that like my music is kind of a microcosm of that, like my writing, where it's like, I sit down and I start writing and I don't know what it's going to become, but I feel like I'm going to like it. I feel like it's going to be something that I can be proud of. And I think generally the same thing. I think that, hopefully, when I look back 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever it might be, that it's going to be something that I'm going to be like, man, what a ride. Like, this has been great. It's been fun. It's been exciting. And, the different experiences of different people that I could meet, the different people that, hopefully I could touch with my music and stuff. And I don't have any idea what that looks like sitting here now, but, it's exciting for me to think about. So definitely not really scared of it. Pretty excited for it.
That's good. That's good. That's very important. If your music was a movie, what would the title be?
Wow. What would the title be? I would say the title would probably be Light in the Darkness, something like that. Because that is, I feel like, the theme that keeps coming back, with this music. And, I don't always going to be the way that my music goes. I really don't, but to this point, that's what it's worked out to. And I think that it speaks to kind of who I am on the inside. And just, again, it's the spirituality, that quiet spirituality. And it's the strong, love of the people around me, steady love and loyalty of the people around me, of just knowing that, things can get rough, and experience has shown me, that things can get rough, but there is a beyond that, and that you can get through that, and that oftentimes is much better on the other side. So
if you could collaborate with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh gosh, I would still say Peter. I would still say Cetera. Man, I've listened to him, all of his stuff. I know every note that he sings. I love like his music. What was Chicago? I love his stuff when he went out on his own. And just the way that he writes his music, the way that he writes, his vocals, his harmonies, like I was talking about, the counter melodies and stuff like that. Just very much an icon to me. And that would be definitely an awesome experience for me.
What would surprise people most about you?
Let's see. What would surprise people the most about me? I don't really know, because I'm not real sure what people think about me, but I think that I have a very sharp, sarcastic sense of humor.
Okay.
So maybe that's something that, doesn't really come out in this situation, but definitely something that is very much a part of who I am. So yeah, probably that.
All right, let's throw you some bonus rapid fire questions. Vinyl or streaming?
Vinyl.
Night drive or beach sunset?
Night drive.
Analog or digital?
Analog.
Favorite synth sound?
Ooh, God. Favorites. Oh my gosh, you hit me with that one. That's rapid fire. Oh my gosh.
It's okay. I think, you can think about it.
Yeah, no, I think a good moody big pad. I love just the atmosphere that you could just hit a chord on something like that, and it just it's like everybody, you got to stop and pay attention to it. That's where I would go with that one.
And talk about synth sound. It's amazing because you brought it back. Not too many, you don't hear it a lot nowadays. It was more known back in the 80s.
Right.
Right. With there's so many synth pop bands and groups from back in the day, and I love it that you've decided to bring it, into your music. I love it.
Thank you.
Most emotional song ever heard that you've ever heard?
I would say, man, I think for me, it'd probably be Hard Habit to Break off the top of my head. That's one that's always affected me, even when I have no reason for it to affect me. So I guess that lands pretty good.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee for sure.
Yeah, I know coffee. What would be your dream venue to go to perform at?
You already mentioned it. Red Rock.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I've heard that place is incredible. I mean, It looked incredible in video. So
yeah.
One word that describes your music.
Again, I would go with let me say emotional. That's what I would go with.
One word that describes your life right now.
Hectic. I can go with hectic. Busy, full-time job, full-time family, all that good stuff.
But in a good way.
In a good way. Absolutely.
But many people say, I think it's crazy.
No.
But no, in your case, you're a good hectic.
Right.
What message do you hope people to take from your music?
I would want people to take, I guess the message I'd want people to take is that you're seen, that you're whatever it is that you're going through, whatever you're experiencing, good, bad, whatever it is, there are others that have experienced that, and there are others that no matter, how bad it is or whatever it might be, we've come through it, like I was saying before. So it's really just kind of you're seen, I guess is the best way I could say it.
Yeah. What's next for you?
Next for me, like I said, I have two songs that are going to be coming out soon. I would say probably one should be within the next month or so, month and a half maybe, and then the other one probably another month after that. They're sort of upbeat type songs. The second one is very upbeat, very kind of definitely the most danceable song that I've written so far. It's so much fun. I can't wait to get that one out. Yeah, so two of them going at once. So, but those, yeah, that's what I got coming soon.
Can you share the titles or?
Yep. The first one is called Runaway, and the second one is called Electric Night.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Last question for you. If someone feels broken or lost tonight, listening to this episode or watching this episode, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, first of all, that what you're feeling is real and that it is valid, and nobody can minimize that, but that there is living proof out there that you can get through that. You can come onto the other side of that. And even if it doesn't seem like that's possible, there is a way. There's always a way. And you just got to be strong. You have to lean on those who are around you. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to go to God. I think that, the resources are there. You just have to open yourself up to that. And hopefully, there's something in my music that will speak to someone like that, and in some way, maybe, connect with them and help them know that it's going to be better.
Yeah, that's good. Folks, make sure you like, share, subscribe, especially share it. That's the most important thing to me. Let's get Mike Hodges music out. Let's push it. Let's share. So share this episode so more people get to know who this man is, get to know his music. Mike, thank you so much for spending some time with me, sharing your background, sharing your music. Man, keep rocking. I'm looking forward to Runaway and Electric Night, man.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I really appreciate you having me.
Folks, thank you for watching. Mike, don't go anywhere.